Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a homemade cheese bread that was a subscriber request by Draco Invictus. He described a cheese bread to me that I had never heard before, so I went out and did a bunch of research, and I think I've come up with the recipe for the bread that he's looking for. So let's get started. And first we're going to go over the ingredients, and we're going to need, and what we're going to start with is the buttermilk. I have a half of a cup, as well as a third of a cup of water, and these have both been heated to 110 degrees. I've got 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter that I've gone ahead and melted and allowed to start cooling down. I've got 1 large egg, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons and a fourth of active instant yeast, 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of shredded cheese, and I would recommend that you shred this yourself. It will melt much better for you in your bread. As well as I had a little bit of extra cheese left over, so I went ahead and cubed it up. And 3 cups of bread flour. And then over here I have 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter that I will melt later, as well as 2 teaspoons of parsley, and a half of a teaspoon of garlic powder. And these will be for the topping on the bread that we're going to use much later. The first thing we're going to do is add the buttermilk and the water into our mixing stand. As well as our yeast. And then I'm just going to stir that together a little bit. And then I'm going to add in 1 cup of our flour, as well as the sugar. And then I'm going to also add in the salt and the garlic powder. And then I just want to mix all these together until they're well incorporated. The reason I'm using buttermilk and water is the buttermilk is going to give it a nice tangy flavor, and the water is what's going to help make this a light, fluffy bread on the inside. If I had just used all buttermilk, it would be too dense, and he described this as a light, fluffy bread texture on the inside. And I think this combination is going to give us what we're looking for. I'm also going to add in my butter now. And the butter is also going to help with that fluffiness on the inside. And I'm also going to add in my egg. Alright, now I think at this point we are ready to start adding in the remainder of our flour, but first I'm going to attach the dough hook onto my machine. And gradually start adding the flour in. Whoop, or get it all over the counter, as the case may be. Alright, there we go. Now at this point all I'm going to do is turn my mixer on, and I'm going to let this start to mix together until it starts forming into a ball. Don't be afraid to bring your bowl down and mix it around by hand just to help it start to come together. Now you could, if you don't have a mixer, you could certainly do this one by hand. It's not as labor intensive as most breads are. This one's only going to require about 2 minutes of kneading instead of the usual 5 to 7. Alright, that's starting to look good. Let me get it back up on the machine and we'll continue mixing this. Alright guys, so after 2 minutes I went ahead and removed the dough out of the machine and went ahead and did like a last minute hand kneading on it. And it is now ready to go back in our bowl, which I'm going to spray with a little bit of olive oil spray. And then I'm just going to put this right inside. And whoop, if you can see, there we go. And then I'm just going to lightly spray it on top. And then cover it loosely with some saran wrap. And I'm just going to put this over in a warm place for about an hour to 2 hours. It's just going to depend. You want to let this rise until it has doubled in size. So the warmest place in my house right now is inside my oven with the oven light on. And I will see you guys in 2 hours where we will get this shaped and get the cheese added into the bread. Alright guys, our bread's been rising for almost 2 hours and it's already doubled in size. So now what I need to do is lightly tap it down and then get it over onto our breadboard here. There we go. And then all I'm going to do now is gently press it out until it's a rectangle. Just kind of gently stretch it. And while I'm doing this, I would like to remind you guys of the Gamers and Geeks playlist that JPickaDeath and I have going on our channels if you would like to be a part of that. It's really easy. All you have to do is go out, make a cooking video, and then post it to your channel. And once you've done that, let either JPick or I know, either in the comment section of our latest cooking videos, or if you are a part of our Discord servers, you can let us know over there as well. Alright guys, so I think I've pretty much got this evenly spread out, although it is a little thin up in that upper corner there. I think we're going to be good. Just kind of adjust it a little bit. There we go. So at this point, all we're going to do now is dump our 2 cups of cheese right on top of it. And then spread it out. I do want to try and avoid that top edge as much as I can so I can get a good seal on it there. There we go. I think that looks pretty good, although I do want to bring it all the way down to the bottom edge as much as I can. And now all we're going to do is start rolling it up and encase the cheese there in the middle of our bread or our dough. Might take a second to get it started, but then there we go. And then the end piece I'm just going to bring up and start pinching it closed. And I'm going to go ahead and tuck my ends in and pinch them close as well. And then roll it so the seam is on the bottom. And now for the next step, to make this some of this cheese get towards the top of our bread, I'm going to cut this in half lengthwise. There we go. It looks good already. And then I'm going to pinch my ends, and then I'm just going to try and twist this bread so it kind of looks like that. Whoop. See if we can bring that edge up. So we're going to get all this nice cheesy goodness on top as well as into the center of our bread. And I've already gone ahead and greased a loaf pan, and I'm just going to stuff this right down inside the loaf pan. Try and spread it out a little bit in there. There we go. And then the extra cubes of cheese that I had, I'm just going to dot those here and there on the top so we have some nice molten cheese spots after the bread has cooked. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Now all I'm going to do now is cover this back up with my tea towel and set it over on top of my stove to let it rise for an additional 30 minutes while my oven preheats to 350 degrees. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get the butter melted for the topping that we're going to brush over the top. So I will see you guys in about a half an hour. Alright guys, so this has been rising for half an hour, and I did go ahead and move it over into a smaller loaf pan, and it started to rise much better. So I think the other one I had was just a tad bit too big for the amount of dough that we've got. And in this pan, all I've got are the 2 tablespoons of butter, the garlic powder, and the parsley that I had set aside at the beginning of the recording. And I'm just going to go ahead and brush this on the exposed dough parts. And I do have this on a cookie sheet just in case the cheese decides to bubble over. I don't want to have a big mess down in my oven. Try and get some of that to drizzle down into the creaks and crevices that we've got created here. Alright guys, I think this is gonna just about do it, and I think the bread is now ready to go into the oven, and I'm gonna bake this on 350 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes. This is a long baking bread, and what I'm gonna do to prevent it burning on the top is about 25 minutes into the baking cycle, I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil, and that should help prevent any of the cheese from burning on the top. So I'm going to get this in the oven, and I will see you guys in about an hour. Alright guys, our bread's out of the oven, and I've let it cool on the counter for a good 10 minutes. And I think now it's ready to slice in. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and you really do want to make sure that you have a cookie sheet underneath of your loaf pan because the cheese did bubble over the edge of the pan. So yay, no oven cleaning for me today, but you do want to be careful with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and move it over here to my cutting board. And let's go ahead and get in here and get a slice. I'm going to cut the end piece off. Still quite warm, so the cheese, ouch, should still be a little melty on the inside. Let's go in and get another slice here. Oh wow, that looks so good. There we go. Cheese is just starting to melt. There you go. You can see it really good there. And this is very, very warm. There we go. There is our cheese bread. Let's go ahead and go in here and give it a small taste. I don't think this one needs any butter. It's very light on the inside. Alright guys, this bread is really super delicious. It is very cheesy, very light and fluffy here in the middle. I really enjoy the texture of the bread as well as the flavor. I do get a hint of garlic in the dough itself as well as from what we brushed on the top. So Draco, I hope this is the recipe that you were looking for. If it is, let me know down in the comments section below. If you guys like this video, let me know down in the comment section below as well. I always enjoy reading your comments. If you guys have a recipe you'd like to see me try and make, let me know. Also down in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to give it a go. Remember to check out the Gamers and Geeks playlist, as well as my Elder Scrolls and Fallout cookbook playlist. But for now, thank you so very much for joining me today. I've been Vault Girl. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.